Hi, this is Mike Larson with Money and Markets TV. I don't know about you, but when I watch our congressmen argue back and forth about the budget, I'm reminded of those old Keystone Kops episodes from a century ago. A bunch of incompetent, uncoordinated officials chasing their tails while the bandits make off with the loot. Similarly, Democrats and Republicans have been haggling for months about federal budget cuts, but getting nowhere. They've had to pass not one, not two, but 6 resolutions to keep the government operating. Now, Tea Partiers want cuts on the order of $100 billion. Other Republicans are asking for $61 billion in cuts. But some Democrats want no more than $10 billion cut from the federal budget, and others are only willing to consider a figure around $33 billion. Regardless of how the negotiations play out, several things are abundantly clear to me. First, the leaders we've elected aren't leading, they're bungling. Second, even the figures being discussed by the most aggressive budget cutters are too timid. And third, this lack of substantive action virtually guarantees a debt crisis in the future. That's because any deficit reduction plan that Congress eventually settles on will just be spitting in the wind. Why do I say that? The White House recently projected budget deficits of $7.2 trillion over the next decade. The Congressional Budget Office pegs the number even higher, $9.5 trillion. That's an average of nearly $1 trillion every single year through at least 2021. So for the sake of argument, let's say mainstream Republicans get every last penny of the $61 billion in cuts they want. That would still only amount to 3.7% of the deficit the Obama administration is projecting for this year. Meanwhile, our nation's debt load rose by $61 billion in the first 22 days of March alone. It's a battle we can't win. Now, if Congress really wanted to make a difference, it would propose major long-term changes to the biggest budget-busting programs out there: Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. They account for roughly 44% of federal spending right now, and those percentages are only going to rise as America ages. Let's take a closer look at the numbers. According to PIMCO founder Bill Gross, our unfunded Social Security liabilities total $7.9 trillion. Our unfunded Medicare liabilities total $22.8 trillion. And Medicaid, $35.3 trillion. Add it all up, and that's roughly $80 trillion in official debt and future unfunded liabilities. Yet despite years of talk, our leaders have failed to make any meaningful progress on reforms. And now, they're haggling over a couple tens of billions of dollars in cuts as if that's going to turn the tide. Folks, it's going to take a heck of a lot more than that. The International Monetary Fund said we would have to immediately and permanently slash all transfer payments and jack up taxes by a whopping 35% to eliminate both our current and our long-term deficits. The bottom line? Regardless of how and whether the budget debate settles out, our fiscal outlook will get worse and worse with each passing year. The only way to get off this path is for Washington policymakers to take these threats seriously and to tackle them head on. But that just isn't happening, not by a long shot. So your only option is to protect yourself. To do that, consider buying foreign bonds and stocks to profit from the inevitable decline in the dollar, avoid long-term U.S. Treasuries like the plague, and invest in companies whose balance sheets are in much better shape than our own government, while dodging the multitude of dogs out there. I'm Mike Larson for Money and Markets TV. Thanks for watching.